The Combat Academy's training hall fell silent as Instructor Zeftar's four eyes swept across the diverse assembly of cadets. Representatives from dozens of species stood at attention, their various appendages, tentacles, and limbs held rigid in military precision. At the back of the formation, Marcus Chen stood among his fellow humans, his unremarkable bipedal form barely reaching the shoulder height of the towering Altarian beside him. "Today begins your final combat assessment," Zeftar announced, his chitinous voice echoing through the crystalline chamber. "The Galactic Council has issued new regulations." He paused, savoring the moment. "All weapons, technological enhancements, and artificial augmentations are hereby banned from this examination." A ripple of concern passed through the assembled cadets. The Catherian representatives' bioluminescent patches flickered nervously. Their plasma rifles had been their primary advantage. The mechanical nexus units exchanged rapid data bursts, their integrated weaponry systems suddenly rendered useless. Even the hulking Gorvak, whose natural armor plating made them living tanks, shifted uncomfortably, knowing their traditional warhammers were now forbidden. "Instructor," called out Vexali, a spindly arachnus whose species had dominated galactic warfare for 3 centuries with their precision energy weapons. "Surely this puts some species at an unfair disadvantage. The regulations seem arbitrary." Zeftar's mandibles clicked in what passed for amusement among his kind. "The Council's wisdom is absolute, Cadet Vexali. You will adapt, or you will fail." His gaze lingered meaningfully on the human contingent. Some species will find this more challenging than others. Marcus felt the weight of dozens of alien eyes turning toward him and his fellow humans. In a galaxy where most species had evolved natural weapons, venomous stingers, razor-sharp claws, acidic secretions, or electromagnetic pulses, humans appeared laughably inadequate. No chitin armor, no natural toxins, no energy projection capabilities, just soft flesh wrapped around brittle bones. "The assessment begins in 1 hour, Zeftar continued. "You may use only what evolution provided. Nothing more." As the other species huddled in their respective groups, frantically strategizing how to compensate for their lost technological advantages, Marcus noticed something interesting. While the aliens despaired over their absent weapons, his fellow humans began moving differently. Sarah rolled her shoulders and stretched her neck. David bounced lightly on the balls of his feet, testing his balance. Elena cracked her knuckles with a sound that made several nearby cadets flinch. "This is bad," muttered Torval, a crystalline silicate whose people had ruled through superior metallurgy for millennia. "My sonic disruptors are sealed away. How am I supposed to fight with these?" He gestured helplessly at his natural crystal growths. "At least you have natural armor," grumbled Kess, whose fluid-form people typically relied on advanced plasma containment suits. Without them, she was little more than mobile liquid. "The humans are doomed. Look at them. They have nothing." But Marcus was smiling now, and that smile began to spread to his companions. When the assessment began, the arena transformed into chaos. Species that had dominated through technology floundered without their artificial advantages. The graceful Ethans, masters of energy manipulation, found their delicate bone structure poorly suited for physical combat. The intellectual cerebroids, whose powerful minds could control vast armies of drones, discovered that large brains made for vulnerable targets in close quarters. Marcus found himself facing Graktor, a Gorvak whose species had conquered 17 systems through brute strength and superior weaponry. Standing nearly 3 meters tall with natural bone spurs jutting from his joints, Graktor should have been an insurmountable opponent. "Pathetic human," Graktor rumbled, flexing arms that could crush steel. "Your soft species will be eliminated first." Marcus raised his hands, not in surrender, but in a fighting stance that had been refined over millions of years of human evolution. His fingers curved naturally into weapons that no regulation could confiscate. His balance shifted to something that had allowed his ancestors to hunt megafauna across ice ages. Graktor charged with the confidence of a species that had never known physical defeat. But Marcus moved like water, flowing aside from the devastating blow and responding with something the Gorvak had never encountered: a perfectly timed counterattack that targeted not armor, but joints. His fist, hardened by a lifetime of conditioning, struck with surgical precision at the nerve cluster behind Graktor's knee. The giant toppled, more surprised than injured. Around the arena, similar scenes played out. Sarah had trapped a Nexus unit in a chokehold, applying pressure that caused their optical sensors to shut down in self-preservation. David had somehow managed to pin a writhing Kith beneath him, his body weight distributed in a way that neutralized their superior strength. Elena had backed 3 Arachnis into a corner using nothing but aggressive positioning and the threat of her clenched fists. "Impossible," whispered Vexali, watching humans systematically dismantle opponents that should have destroyed them. "They have no weapons, no natural advantages. How are they winning?" Instructor Zeftar's 4 eyes focused intently on the humans as understanding dawned. These creatures had evolved differently from every other species in the galaxy. While others developed natural weapons or relied on technology, humans had become weapons themselves. Every movement was economical, every strike precisely calculated. They fought with their entire bodies, legs, arms, heads, even their teeth when necessary. But it wasn't just their physical capabilities. Marcus watched his opponents telegraphing their moves, reading their intentions in the microsecond before they acted. Humans had evolved to hunt the most dangerous predators on their world, and that had required not just physical prowess, but psychological warfare. When Marcus smiled at his next opponent, a towering crystalline whose razor-sharp edges gleamed menacingly, the alien actually took a step backward. That smile promised violence, and every predator instinct in the galaxy recognized it. "The regulations banned weapons," Marcus said softly, his voice carrying clearly across the now quiet arena. "But they never banned warriors." By the time the assessment ended, humans occupied the top 7 positions on the combat rankings. They had used no technology, no artificial enhancements, nothing but the products of evolution on a world that had tried to kill them for millions of years. As the other species filed out in stunned silence, Instructor Zeftar approached Marcus. "Your species is unusual, Cadet Chen." Marcus nodded, still smiling that predator's smile. "We've been fighting longer than most species have been building starships, sir. Our ancestors made weapons from rocks and sticks, then realized they didn't need the rocks and sticks. The Council may need to reconsider their regulations," Zeftar admitted. "With respect, sir," Marcus replied. "Every regulation they write just helps us understand the rules of engagement. And humans have always been very good at winning games once we understand the rules." As the human walked away, Zeftar realized that the Galactic Council had just learned why Earth's application to join their military academy had been accepted so quickly. Despite humanity's apparent technological disadvantages, they hadn't banned weapons from the class. They had simply revealed that some species were weapons themselves.